Okay, this is the Conservation Commission of Fairfield, Connecticut, acting as the Inland Wetlands Agency on Wednesday, January 5th, 2022, first one of the year at 7 p.m. I'm Lucas Thomas, the chairman. With us are Boucher, the secretary. I think I saw him. Yes, there. Brian McCann, and Jay Fain, and Amanda Mertens Campbell. I think I need to appoint one, right?
You can appoint both.
Both. Okay. So
yeah.
I'll appoint both.
Because we have some vacancies, so they can be appointed for those.
And Amanda Mertens Campbell, both as alternates for tonight's meeting. Okay. Now Roman numeral 3 is bills and communications. Approval of special site walk meeting minutes of November 28th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve the special site walk meeting minutes?
Amanda makes a motion.
Amanda makes the motion. Do I have a second? Okay, there we go. Brian made a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. B, approval of meeting minutes of December 1st, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
Amanda makes a motion again.
Motion. Thank you. A second? Brian, thank you. All in favor? Okay. And C, approval of the recording secretary's bill of December 1st, 2021. Anybody would like to make a motion to approve? Brian, second.
Amanda seconds.
Amanda, thank you, Amanda. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Roman numeral 4, inland wetland deliberative session. A, old business. IWPA 2021-22-02, Top 180, Catamount Road, Assessors Map 2017, Parcel 22, construct a new dwelling, driveway, and subsurface sewage disposal system within regulated area. And last day for decision is today, tomorrow, sorry, January 6, 2022. The staff recommends approval with conditions. I want to point out that earlier today, there were 2 emails that came in from neighbors. I want to state that since they were brought in, they are now part of the record, and it's my understanding that all commissioners have read that. I don't need to read it into the record because they've been submitted. They're part of the record. We did this last time. Tim, do you want to let us know if they brought the information that we were looking for?
Yes, they did. That was turned in. I believe that was included in your packets from William Kenny Associates. A site plan with detail on wetland crossing and planting plan.
Okay. And based upon reviewing that, that's why the staff recommends approval with conditions.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Satisfies me, but it's still part of the discussion.
Yep. Okay. I guess Ms. Kopp, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, Happy New Year to all. And there were some conditions that were brought forward in the, a month ago at the last meeting, and myself and Jimmy and Bill Kenny worked quite hard over the holiday period to satisfy all those requirements. I think you'll find that they were satisfied to a really high degree and done incredibly professionally. And I'm very pleased with the result of them. I think if you take a look at them, at the drawings and what was produced by both Land Surveying Services and Bill Kenny. I think they did an excellent job, and I think you should feel like everything has been satisfied and explained very well. But Jimmy's here, so he can answer any questions if anybody has any technical questions about this second submission that we've done.
I actually have some comments. I don't know if you want to go ahead, but I do have some comments when
Sure.
my turn comes.
Well, that was going to be the next step. Any members have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Is it okay for me to speak now?
Yeah.
Yeah, just hi, everybody. And I know I came late to this, so I apologize. This is the first time actually seeing this. And I did review the minutes, so I'm familiar a little bit with the project. I did meet with Tim on the site, was that yesterday? Tim?
That's correct.
Yeah, just as you know, this is what I do for a living. I'm a professional environmental consultant. I have over 40 years of experience, and I've worked for numerous towns. I think I've worked for every town in Fairfield County doing reviews at some point or another. I spent 25 years in another town as a professional reviewing site plans and doing wetland reviews. Just as a little bit of a background. And again, I apologize. I came late to the party.
Jay, can I interrupt 1 second? Are you on the committee, or have you been hired by an outside?
Yeah, he is now a alternate member of the commission.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
I appointed him earlier along with Amanda Mertens Campbell. They're now, for tonight's purposes, a member of the committee and actually the agency, the Inland Wetlands Agency for tonight, and they'll be able to vote on this application.
Okay, so they're part to make the quorum. Okay,
Yeah.
because I don't remember. Okay, I got it. Thanks.
I'm just listening by phone.
Okay,
I
good.
couldn't get on.
Okay.
So this is just my review comments, and again, I apologize. I come late, but you know, as I said, I kind of do this for a living for a long time, so I just do this the same way I would review any other application. I reviewed the survey, and I had some questions regarding the survey. It's both an A2 survey, I believe, and a site plan. However, there were a couple of easements that were described that aren't shown on the survey. One was easement for the well in the rear lot that was shown in the application, but it's not shown on the survey. And also the easements for the driveway easements that aren't shown on the site plan. And that's, to me, that's important because to access the rear of the parcel to install the septic system, they have to use that driveway on the other property. And if there isn't an easement or it extinguishes, or the permission extinguishes when the property is sold, they might have to cross the wetlands to actually get to the septic area to install the septic system. So I'd like to have that clarified if possible. The note 11 on the survey states that the lot is served by a septic system and a well water supply. However, the plans show access for water from the aquarium main on the street. So I'd like to have that clarified. And again, I guess if there's an aquarium service is available, shouldn't we consider, or should the applicants consider providing the service to the rear lot at this time, since this is the time that property will be disturbed? There's also a well on the adjacent parcel to the east that's not shown. That might be good to have that on the plan. It's not clear to me who's the design professional for this project. I know Neil is the surveyor. Is Hemkona the design professional for all the engineering improvements? And I didn't see his seal on the plan, so just it's a comment. The septic in the rear is split system and will require 2 force mains crossing over the well line. There was very little cover on the septic main, and so there's a concern about the mains freezing, the septic mains freezing, and then possibly rupturing and then contaminating the well. Bill Kenny has a detail on his plan regarding how the force main will be installed through the wetlands. And I think that should be part of the engineering plan, since the engineering has to certify that. And then at this time, it would be really easy and really cheap to install a spare force main. There's a large force main that has to go to the rear of the property. The cost of the pipe is, a few dollars. The cost of the installation is expensive. If it could ever really fail and there's a spare, we wouldn't have to dig up the wetlands again. So it's a suggestion I make on a lot of projects is just throw another piece of pipe in there. It's cheap to do it at this time. I had some comments about the drainage, and that was an item of concern, I think, from the neighbors. With modeling, it's approximately elevation 250.85. The bottom of the galleries are showing at 249.5 and the stone at 248.5. There might not be enough separation distance there. There's a very small pitch on the driveway. I don't know if you know, but there's about 7 feet of fill at the house, and they're going to repitch the property towards the catch basins at the street. But there's very minimum pitch on it. It's probably 1.5%. I'm not sure the water will actually get to the catch basins to make it into Coltech units. And then the rear roof elevation is such that that water cannot make it to the Coltech unit. So that would be something that needs to be addressed, because the drainage system is supposed to be designed to capture, I believe, all the water that's being generated from the south, from this site, and the water in the rear cannot be directed towards the Coltech units. It's a walkout basement situation, and those leaders will not be able to be captured. As I said, I walked the site. I tried to look at the wetland delineation. However, all the flags are gone, so it's not possible to review it. There's one area I had of concern along the western property line near the driveway. I am a certified soil scientist, so I did ask Tim if it would be possible for me and Bill Kennedy to walk the site or look and actually look at that one area just for clarification. There's no trees to be removed or shown on the site plan. I usually like to see that. I'd like to retain as many trees as possible. There are some good trees. The split rail fence is shown as a demarcation along the western or the northern property line. On the site plan, it's shown on the southern part, but it's not shown on Bill Kennedy's plan. I'd like to see the split rail fence on the southern side be added on the top of the wetland pattern rather than at the bottom of the slope. I think that we want to protect those wetland buffer plantings, and that fence is not shown on the Bill Kennedy plan, so it should be added to the Bill Kennedy plan. Those are the substance of comments I had at this time. I don't know where we are in terms of time. I think that the time ends tomorrow. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah.
Would it be possible to get an extension, or we run out from the applicant, or is it totally out of time?
I don't believe so. I think that we need to do one of two things: either vote tonight, or the applicant can withdraw. Because if it's,
I think they can offer a 65-day extension.
we can.
Yeah,
Okay,
because they have not done that yet.
they haven't done that.
This was the first.
I'm not
First period.
exactly sure what you're asking. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what you want, because I thought we satisfied all the requirements from the last meeting, and now there's another 50 things. I'm really trying to get my head around what you're saying, because I think we've done a really extensive and a really thorough and very good job. And if you're saying, okay, the engineer needs to stamp Bill's engineering, that's fine. I'm sure Jimmy can do that. I'm sure many of these things can be done, because you're asking us to cross the T's and dot the I's. And the overall idea is I have been being, that lot on the front has been charged as a developable lot for taxes. Okay, there's a 2-acre lot in the back that I get charged $2,500 a year. That one's quite expensive, that front lot. That's a developable lot. Now we're trying to develop it in the most sensitive way possible, not only for the neighborhood, but also for the environment. So all these things that have been asked of us, you know, I've been complying with now for a year, over a year. So it's been quite an extensive process, and you threw out so many things. I'm trying to get a handle on exactly what you want. What is the?
And I apologize, I know I came late to the party.
Yeah, you came like a
That,
bat out of
you
hell
know,
there.
the comments I have are legitimate. I think that.
Which ones are you most concerned about?
The drainage is the one that would have the most impact.
Sorry?
Drainage.
The drainage of the house that we're going to build on that front lot.
Correct.
Okay. And the drainage is I don't even have construction drawings yet for the house. So if you're asking, if you want to put an addendum on there saying, you know, you need to pitch the driveway this way, and you need to have the slope, the pitch of the roof this way, so we can collect the water into the you know, into the drainage area that we're burying in the ground, we'll do that. But I don't have construction drawings yet because I don't have a building envelope yet.
Well,
Jimmy,
I think that's part of the process. But you know, this agency is charged with protecting the environment and protecting the neighbors and looking
We're
at the
happy
drainage.
to
I think that there's some, you know, there's some issues with the
Listen,
drainage.
you can put an addendum saying I have to have a pitch on my roof, or I have to have my driveway pitched to a certain way. That's fine. The construction drawings that will be submitted. And by the way, it's not required to submit construction drawings at the time that you're trying to get
No,
approval.
but we have to have enough information to make sure that there's not going to be impact on the resource.
Put an addendum in it. I have to have a certain pitch. I'm happy to comply with that.
You're
But
not going to you're not going to want to pitch your entire front roof line to the front of the property. We have a pretty odd shaped house, so it has to be addressed.
Well, would somebody
is that
like to make a
requirement to
motion?
get building permission to have construction drawings? Because you're actually making it impossible.
I don't think that's true.
You just made it impossible. I have to now
Probably
submit.
done over 10,000 wetland applications in my career, and we just have to have sufficient detail included in the plans to make sure that there's not going to be an impact. And that's required for the agency, so the agency can make the findings.
But in the application, we are required, it is a requirement to collect the water off the roof. Okay, that is a requirement. That will be done.
Well, it can be done, but it's physically impossible for water to flow uphill. And you have about an 8 foot,
what? You
8
can
foot
put in
differential from the
gutters.
rear of your house to the front, to the cul-de-sac in the front of the house. So that means that either that you're going to have to relocate cul-de-sacs elsewhere, you're going to have to do some other drainage.
Not necessarily. You can do it with a gutter system, and you can collect it in basins and send it towards your retention area.
No, you can't. Sorry.
Okay,
You
I
can't-
think at
you
this
can't
point,
go uphill with water.
Mr. Commissioner, ma'am, at this point, I'll entertain a motion to extend this for 65 days. If somebody would like to put up a motion to extend this for 65 days so that all of these questions that Commissioner
I
Fain
don't
has
know
put,
what the questions are.
well,
could
that's
some-
why. This isn't, right now, it seems like there's going to be more questions than anything, and I would
I
think,
would be happy, you know, if you give me a couple of days, again, I'll put my list of comments together in a narrative format and get them to Tim.
well, that's fine, but it's still, at this point, this is a meeting of the agency, and it's the Roberts rules. We're not doing all of this right now, so we can move forward. There's other people here. Commissioner Fain clearly has some issues. I need somebody to do a motion to extend for 65 days, or a motion to vote right now. Somebody has to do something. So
Can I just interrupt for 1
Chairman.
minute,
Sorry.
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
Sorry, I just want, so in our inland wetlands regulation, section 11.2 says the applicant may consent to one or more extensions of the period specified in the subsection, provided the total extension of all periods shall not be for longer than 65 days, or they may withdraw the application. So that
Right.
the applicant needs to consent to the extension,
We can,
but we
make
can
the
do up
motion.
to, it doesn't have to be 65 days, but it can't be longer than 65 days.
okay. Well,
And-
But it is in the regulations.
Well then, ma'am, would you consent to an extension? If you wouldn't, then we're gonna have to have a vote then tonight.
Jimmy?
This is not up to me, but I'd like to just, not James Zumo, Land Surveying Services. I'd like to just address some of Jay's comments because there are things that I can address on the plans so that he's more aware that there are some things that I can, point out to him and eventually label. I appreciate the comments. The first one that really, just so you know, we are planning to do a 6-inch PVC sleeve at the wetland crossing. So that in the event in the future, if anything needs to be done with the replacement of the force main, we could just sleeve it right through and nothing, we wouldn't have to disturb the wetlands again. I'll revisit the drainage with Hem. Hem Kona is the design engineer on the project. I'll revisit it with him and see what he has to say and see what he could do about the drainage. As Ms. Kopp said, we don't have a roof plan yet, but I get your comment saying, yeah, obviously water can't run upstream, but I'll revisit this with him and see if we do end up doing the extension to address that for the next meeting. Easement on the left-hand side, I don't know why the labeling's not there. There is a driveway easement and access easement. Ms. Kopp owns the rear property as well. She has access to rear property through that driveway easement. If you look on the site plan, it's the hatched area. It's light, it's gray. As for the water line doesn't have a specific dimension easement coming from the well to 206 Catamount. It's just stated in the deed that rear property has access to that well. We don't know exactly where that water line is. It will have to be found at the time of construction, and the proper sleeves will be put around the water line below the water line. I'll make sure all the force lines are under. We'll go back and we'll double check and make sure all the force lines are below frost so that so that nothing's breaking in the middle of the winter. Typo on note 11. It is served by Aquarian. Since it was last developed, Aquarian came by. It was originally in well water. It is now Aquarian, so it is going to be public water supply. We did locate the well on the eastern side of on the eastern property. It's well outside of the 75 feet for the septic, so show it on there, but I can show it on a revised plan for you. As for the sloping of the driveway, without having everything sloped down, we'd have to revisit the slope of everything. It's going to be a little harder. It's going to be a little bit harder than the 1.5% was a little tough. So I could review trying to get that to 2.5%, but I was just trying to get it as much as I possibly could without making it look drastic and having the house far out of the ground.
I get it. You might want to add another basin somewhere along the line so that water can get to that one.
Absolutely. We can look into that. That's for sure. I think that hits most of them. We'll wait to get your narrative and what you say, so I can address them, equally, and then make sure that on a revised plan, everything is matching up and having Hem's signatures on it. I don't know why the PDF doesn't have his signature on it. But make sure everything is all, in line with Bill Kenny's plans, my plans, and Hem's stuff.
That's fair enough. That's all I'm asking, is that we have consistent plans. I appreciate you addressing things. No one's looking to deny this. I think we just want to make sure everything's, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Absolutely.
The only other thing was that split rail fence, if you could address that at some point too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Now I know I'll have to talk to Bill. I know Bill and Sarah and Tim had a meeting that I was not present at. So I'll double check with Tim and Sarah tomorrow and Bill and just verify where everybody wants split rail fence. Again, put it in your narrative and I'll make sure that, we address it accordingly.
Perfect.
Anyone else? Any
No.
questions?
Is the house up against the front setback? Is that why it can't be moved any farther close to the road?
Yeah, it's about 1 foot off the setback in the front. It's close. It's not a particularly easy parcel to build on, but, you know, it's definitely buildable. We're just gonna have to address it and get it all, you know, make it look nice.
Absolutely. So it is a nice, very nice parcel. It's very bucolic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's beautiful. I mean.
It's a beautiful neighborhood.
So
Would you
Bonnie,
agree-
it's gonna be up to you.
Yeah, would you agree to it doesn't have to be as long as 65. Can we push this off to the next meeting? And by then, everybody should have talked to each other?
Will you have enough time, Jimmy?
The hard part's done. Most of it's done. Now it's just amending it. Yeah.
The hard part was doing it over the holidays, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, yes, I could definitely get something. When's the next meeting?
Next month.
February 2nd.
Yep, that's fine with me.
Okay, if you think if you can answer all these questions and get it done before then I'm fine. Then I would like to have an extension.
Okay. So the applicant consents to an extension. Would any commissioner put forward a motion to extend, to push this off to the next meeting? For a decision?
Motion, Luke. Chairman.
Okay. Brian, anybody second that? Rick, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
I can leave them, I can leave, right?
Yes, you may leave.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Number 2, IWPA 2021-22-04, Wetland Country Club of Fairfield, 936 Sasko Hill Road, Assessors Map 239, Parcel 12, construction of a new paddle tennis club hut, paddle tennis court, site utilities, and installation of wetland buffer plantings within a regulated area. And last day for decision.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is John Fallon. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. I'm here representing the Country Club of Fairfield. Also in the meeting with me is Brian Carey of Land Tech, who consulted with us on this project. Subject to any questions you might have, I think it's fairly straightforward. There's an existing paddle tennis house at the club. It's been there for many years. It's fairly dilapidated, unfortunately. We propose to build a new paddle tennis hut in the same general area. There are 3 paddle tennis courts that are on the property and have been there for many years. We seek in this application to add 1 paddle tennis court so that we would go from 3 to 4. As part of the program, as the staff recommendation indicates, there's a provision for invasive species removal and also native wetland restoration plantings, all of which are agreed to. I did submit, I thank the staff for their very diligent work with regard to this application. And I did send in the necessary form. We reviewed the staff recommendation for approval, which we hope you will adopt. And we certainly agree to all of the specific conditions of approval that are set forth in the staff recommendation. So we hope you'd favorably consider the application, and we appreciate your attention.
Thank you, Attorney Fallon. Tim? Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, thank you all. Good to see you, John. What John said was accurate as can be. I really have no other comments. Everything's been complied with so far with the application, so
Thank you.
look forward
Any
to
commissioners have any
reviewing
questions?
it.
Looks like a good project. Looks like it's well thought out, well planned. I don't have any objection.
Excellent. Therefore, would anybody be willing to put forth a motion to accept with the staff approval with the staff conditions? Rick?
Yeah,
Second?
Commissioner,
Anybody second?
I'll set forth that we approve it with the conditions stated
Okay.
and bring it to a vote.
Anybody second that? Brian?
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye? Very good. Very good. Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Have a good evening.
Good night, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, now we're at B, new business 1, Monthly wetland business update for the agency. Be attached. Is that-
Nothing really exciting on there.
Nothing there, Sarah? Nothing?
Nothing exciting. It's all the same pool permits.
Gotcha. Okay. Roman numeral 5. New application. Formal acceptance and start of the 65-day legal time frame, determination of application significance, fee, and scheduling a public hearing, if necessary, and or decision on the application. Number 1, IWPA 2021-22-05, 4480 Black Rock LLC, 4480 Black Rock Turnpike, Assessor's Map 116, Parcel 3, construction of a residential multi-unit apartment complex with associated parking areas, driveway, and stormwater detention system within a regulated area. The application is per staff is significant. However, no public hearing petition's been received as of 12/28. The staff recommends scheduling a public hearing for February 22, 2022 or March 2, 2022. What do we do? Do we just accept it by motion, or how do we? Is there something we need to do, Sarah?
We would want to schedule. Well, we are recommending scheduling a public hearing. I think there's going to be.
Right.
This is a very significant activity, and there's going to be a lot of public interest in this as well. So yeah, we would recommend to schedule a public hearing for whichever. Those are the two meeting dates within the 65 days that we have.
I would think March 2nd, and also along with that, because of probably the size of the interest in this application. One of the things we'll be talking about in a little bit is having future stuff in person. And I think this is a type of application where it might be better to be in person than to have, who knows, 50 or some odd little pictures on our screen here. So that would be something I'd like to talk about, but to be able to do that, I think March 2nd might be a better place for this than February 2nd.
Certainly seems like February 2nd, we wouldn't be able to have that many people in one location.
Right. So can I entertain a motion to accept and have a public hearing on March 2nd, 2022?
Right. I'll move we make it March 2nd.
Okay.
That gives us all time.
Anybody second that?
Second.
Jay seconds that. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Roman numeral 6, other discussion.
Can I ask one question regarding that?
Yeah.
It seems like this is going to be a significant activity, and certainly seems like there's a lot of activity going to be proposed. Is there a mechanism yet if the commission wanted to get an outside engineering or environmental consultant to help with the review? Is there any mechanism available to do that?
What do you mean an outside?
You know, frequently in these applications, especially if we're looking at some type of activity there where we might have to, you know, need substantial evidence, we would need to have you know, an outside expert review to give us that support in order to properly review and possibly deny an application like that. Not that I'm looking to deny this application, but again, the substantial evidence rule is pretty important in these applications. Tim, how you and Sarah, you guys feel about that? I know that most of the other municipalities I work with in these type of applications will frequently hire an outside reviewer. Frequently, the cost is passed along to the applicant.
That's correct. Yeah, for like a peer review type third party review is certainly possible to get another outside consultant in if that's deemed necessary.
And Tim, I may have missed that. How is the cost of that handled?
In
Borne by
general,
the
most
applicant.
towns have a mechanism where they can get the funds from the applicant. I don't know if again, Tim was gonna bring it up, I think tonight, the fee structure. But most towns do have an escrow type system where they recover the cost from the applicant directly, and that's not a cost that's passed along to the town.
Mm-hmm.
We can get some of that information. I know Westport does it, I know Greenwich does it. And so I can get you that information from those towns on the legislation they use to do that.
Okay, I guess we talk about them. Okay.
It's not that our own staff doesn't have the particular expertise. Just sometimes the way the courts look at these type of applications, they want to have a third party review. I think it takes some of the pressure off the staff too, in terms of objective review and objective handling of the application.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I don't have any experience on it, and it sounds like the applicant will be financially responsible. Have we done this in the past? Anybody on our committee recognize that we've done this in the past?
I'm not aware.
Not that we shouldn't do it, whether we did it or not in the past.
Many years ago, I was asked to do it, review outside wetland delineations, that type of thing. But I'm not familiar with this particular commission has used. I think they have in some of the bigger applications in terms of engineering reviews, but.
Right. Tim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. My own wetlands board experience, we have on rare occasions, on large applications that are controversial. It is helpful just to get an independent opinion. And it could yield the same results as we all decided. But it is somebody from the outside looking in with fresh eyes is helpful.
Right.
Okay.
Excuse me, are the guests allowed to
I
speak?
could work with Commissioner Finn and get some of that information circulate to you.
Okay. So next, again, other discussion of staff to establish day and time for future application site walks. Tim?
Yeah, I put this one on here just to start the ball rolling. I know some of you that were here, we did do our first site walk since I came on board. Similarly in Ridgefield, we have 2 meetings a month, so every other Sunday morning at 8:30 we do all of our site walks, where there's one through 6 sites on a Sunday morning. I just wanted to put it out there to see if we could start the discussion and come to an agreement amongst yourselves to set a day and time that works for most people. Might not always work for everybody, but at least to do site walks on applications that require it.
Yeah,
It's a good idea. I mean, I know that I can't really gauge an application until I actually see the site.
Okay. Yeah, we was enjoyable last time, Tim. So is that your recommendation? That's your availability Sunday mornings? And commissioners, if that's okay with everyone, then we can always just send a quick email back to the office, to the staff, and coordinate for a Sunday morning walk when we have applications to go and look at.
Yeah, I just want to, I'm just using that as an example. I know, some people have church on Sundays, Saturdays, kids have sports. There's no good time. Pretty much during the week is out. So I just wanted the commissioners to discuss what works best for them, and if whatever it is, it is.
Sure.
I think the first time that we did that, it worked out well. So
Yeah,
I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, I agree. That was a Sunday morning, I think, and that was,
Yeah.
that was nice. Yeah.
Right, Lucas, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, this is Amanda. It works for me, and when we went before, I found that very productive.
Great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And now number 2, discussion regarding future in-person IWA meetings. I sort of brought it up with the Black Rock application there. I think that one should be our first in-person one. February might be too close with Omicron and whatever else is going on out in the world there. But I think hopefully, if all goes well, by March, we should be able to do an in-person one, and whatever safety protocols need to be made, we'll abide by them. So, do you commissioners agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, these Zoom meetings are very convenient for just discussions, but for the, I think for a large application, you need the public there to get the dynamic for it.
Right.
I may have missed this, Lucas. Would that be open to the public?
Well, it would have. Well, let's see. I think so, because it is that would be a public hearing. Yes.
Okay.
It would be open to the public.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's the first time down, so we can have a public hearing, and I'm assuming it could be continued. Sarah, is that correct? What, same thing, the 65-day thing? If
Yeah,
needed?
I think they would have to offer a continuation or
Yeah.
a 65-day extension, but
Okay. Right. If we don't get through it, let's say. For some
we continued it. If we didn't close and decide March 2nd, they could do it. They could offer an extension.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the in-person stuff? Number 3, Conservation Director's discussion regarding proposed fee and regulatory revision. Tim, you have some stuff to talk about.
Thank you. I've alluded to this in previous meetings about just some changes. I think stepping into the seat and coming in fresh, with fresh eyes, I've noticed some things that I feel should be changed to benefit the department as far as streamlining and efficiency, but also benefit the applicant, who most often just purely statistical, are usually homeowners dealing with the certificate of wetland compliance. We handled almost 200 last year, and about 21 or 25 IWPAs last year. So we're almost at several hundred a year. So I think that volume just speaks for how much these changes or proposed changes I'm going to discuss would benefit the town residents and the applicants themselves. What I'm going to do is I have a draft memo that I will send to you all for review. With that, I have several sections that I'll just allude to since I have it in front of me. With some first item I have are some definitions that I feel should be added to the inland wetland watercourse regulations that aren't on there that I feel are important that we deal with. It should just be documented in our latest iteration of the regulations. I'm trying to also do this all at once because I don't want to have to revisit this process anytime soon. So to do it as a complete package, all intertwined, I think is an efficient way of department and the commission's time. So the first section is some definitions that I'm looking to add, pretty basic. Second section to deal with performance bonds. Brought this up before that I in many cases, they're unnecessary. And it's a huge tax on the department's time, as well as other departments such as finance, to process these, to hold people's money, especially for the average homeowner who's doing a pool or a simple project. A lot of times, I think 99% of the time, out of the hundreds we process a year, there's 0 that are ever recalled or used. In some cases, they are used for plant replacement that had 0 survivability, which is a good thing. But I'm not saying get rid of the bonds. I'm just saying the department should have more discretion to decide during the review process of when they should be implemented and when they shouldn't. Also, we're holding several $1,000s of people's money for a 2-year period, which is unfair in most cases as well. So in that section, I'm just discussing having more discretion to apply require or not require bond given the scope and details of the project. The topic, I have fee schedule revisions. As most people know, or who have tried or have heard of people trying or actually successfully executing our fee process, especially on the IWPA side. It's very tedious. It's all math-based on areas of disturbance and regulated areas, square footage and acreage, and I don't think it needs to be that complicated. So what I'm proposing is itemized and I like to call menu style fee schedule, that what your project entails has a price based on what you're doing. So it's kind of like a user fee. If your project calls for a single family house with a pool, a fence, a patio, and a deck, those 5 items have a specific price on the fee schedule. Those 5 things you total, that's your price. I think it's very simple. We don't need, it doesn't have to be this complicated. Along those lines, I've compared pricing and structure to other towns in Fairfield County, Greenwich, Darien, New Canaan, Trumbull, Westport, and a couple others outside, like East Lyme, just as controls. But my real focus is the structure in the process. And this would cover IWPA and CWC permits. So for example, there's going to be some reduction in certain fees and some increases, but more decreases than increases. To discuss this in further detail, I created a chart, a spreadsheet, I'm sorry, and looked at the applications from last year. Just looking through my notes here, and broke out all the finances from each application and put them in one column. So you'll see a total of what our revenue, our fee-based, permit-based revenue is. Last year was $378,450. I then compared that, and that was activity-based, not necessarily permit-based. That generated 262 activities. So, single-family homes, 1 activity, pool, we did 50 swimming pools and 46 decks, porches, fences, or pergolas. So I broke all those out, put in the new proposed fees, and then compared them, had that application come in under the proposed fees, how that compares, our revenue compares to the past fee. With that, there was a decrease of permit-based revenue of 2.6%, which only came out to $85,610. That's just, department-wise. That would be slightly different because what I'm also proposing is to include the $60 state fee. which would only apply once per application. So that chart will be, that spreadsheet will be included with this package. But I think this is going to make a lot of people happy. Not only just the reduction in costs, mostly the reductions were centered around simple tasks like garages, sheds, patios, pools, that kind of thing that the majority of homeowners are doing. I think a combination of a reduced fee with lack of a bond and maybe lack of a site monitor for smaller tasks is going to save homeowners a lot of money, a lot of aggravation, a lot of processing on the department side, and just be a general smoother process that's less confusing. And then my last area was to look into revising all the setbacks, or also known as upland review area. Currently, this town has 11 upland review areas of various distances. I would propose, if it's possible, to go standardized 100-foot setback. I'm aware there's a court case that was involved in town, so there might be some restrictions on actually executing this, but at least to explore. 114 out of 169 towns, which is 67% of towns in this state, have a 100-foot setback. I think that's also, again, just making things easier, less confusing. In many ways, our average setback distance out of those 11, since we range from 30-something feet to 144 feet, the average equals out over the 11 to 82.6 feet. So we're below what would be a new standard of protection for natural resource. Also, I think it's a difficult problem when homeowners or applicants have large parcels and the entire parcel is regulated just from a setback line or a natural resource in a far distant part of their property. So this revision or exploring revisions to the setback and the setback related regulations, I think would be a big help in a lot of ways. So those were some of my thoughts, ideas. Of obviously ask for your review and input and criticism. So in this, I will send you is my memo explaining all of this, the new proposed fee schedule, just to see its structure. Could certainly change the numbers. Those are compared, like I said, to surrounding towns in our Gold Coast area, and then the spreadsheet with the comparisons from permit last year with their revenue compared to the proposed fees. So the administration's aware of it, and at a draft perspective, they support it with as this moves and goes through the public process and the commission's review process. Hopefully we could tweak it and get it approved for Board of Finance approval and eventually implementation. But I know it's a long process, so I want to get it started as I mentioned in previous months, and that's where I'm at.
Well, Tim, thank you very much for that. That's industrious, and I think it's much needed from what my few months on here as well. So that'll be good to do. Okay.
I agree. Would it be helpful if we set up an ad hoc committee of a couple commission members to help Tim work on a first draft before it gets circulated? I would volunteer if that was something that everybody would entertain.
Tim, would you like to help?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Form a subcommittee, and I can work with those folks, you know, I've seen that procedure executed before.
Okay. Do you need it now? Do you want us to act on it now, or would you we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting and vote on it there? And would this be an inland wetlands agenda item, or would it be a conservation, or both? You're kind of doing both.
I believe it would be inland wetlands.
Inland, okay.
It's only dealing with wetland regulations.
Okay. Okay.
That'll be up to
So-
you if you want to have a subcommittee started later form tonight with some commissioners, and then I could meet with them, review process.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to form a subcommittee to assist Tim Bishop, our conservation director, in his reviewing of our fee structure and our regulation. Would anybody want to put a motion forward? Jay, would you like to put that motion forward?
Yes.
Okay, would anybody like to second that?
I don't want to be on the committee, but I'll second it.
Second it. Okay, well, that's good. All in favor, and all this does is establish that a committee can be put together, not that everybody becomes a member, but if everybody's in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye,
Oh.
okay. Now that committee, Amanda?
Sorry, this is Amanda. Sorry, I do have a clarifying question.
Yeah.
Is it within the purview of this commission to establish the fee structure, or is that something that the Board of Finance does, or that the First Select Woman's Office would do? I just want to make sure that I'm on board with the idea completely. I just want to make sure, and perhaps this committee can take that action as well, just to make sure.
I think we could at least research it and make recommendations. I believe it's within the purview. I think it's fee structure is contained within the regulations themselves. I think, Tim?
Yes, that's correct. So part of my proposal outlines, as far as the fee structure goes, removing in its entirety 19.5.3 and 19.5.4, and replacing them with the one-page version of fees menu style that I described. So it is a commission-based approval, something the department itself cannot do, but also obviously needs Board of Finance approval once it's approved or denied through the through the commission, or IWA, I should say.
Is that okay, Amanda?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that clarification. I support the motion.
Okay. So then I guess it's everybody's in favor of it. Now who wants to be on it? That's the question.
I'll volunteer.
Jay's on it.
I've
Okay.
already talked to Tim about it. I've had a lot of experience, and there's nothing more frustrating than I've ever done was go to conservation and try to figure out a fee for an application. I thought I was a smart guy, but I could never figure it out.
Brian, you already said no. Rick, how about you?
I don't think my time would allow, guys. I'm sorry.
Just time constraints, not a lack of interest.
Right.
Any interest, Amanda?
Definite interest. I'm time constrained as well, but I'm happy to participate to the extent my schedule permits. So if we do it virtual and email, that'll certainly help.
I think that's the way it would work for the best. It's really a lot of just, Tim has stuff for us to look at, review and draft, possibly doing some research in different towns on how they handle situations like that. most of it can be done by, on the internet.
I'm sure, then I'm happy to participate.
Okay. So, I guess, Jay and Amanda will be on these ad hoc commission to assist Tim Bishop. Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Unless anybody else has any other questions. Nope. Okay. Brian?
Good job with the application, by the way, Tim.
I'm sorry?
I said, good job with the application.
Oh, thank you. That was my first first duty. I've gotten some compliments on that from a lot of people. And I also noticed today there was the fillable PDF is corrupted when you add a certain square footage in section G. So it's very well done, but
It still
I
makes
gotta
it so
fight
much
with
easier to read,
Adobe
though.
now. Yeah.
It's so much better.
Right. So,
Long overdue. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good
thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
No, it's a fantastic change.
Thank you. I'm hoping with these changes to continue to make things easier.
Thank you for what you're doing, Tim. That's great.
Thank you.
Anybody second Brian's motion to adjourn? Rick?
Yeah,
Okay.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that wraps it up, folks.
Thank you, and nice to meet you all, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Maybe one day we can actually
Happy New Year,
meet in
everyone.
person.